Mind your ears, mind your ears. Here we go, launching the game. Yes, we'll read another section of Higurashi here. One section, as we tend to do on Tuesdays. And then get to Somnium Files later. Pulling double time here on a Tuesday night. Get out of here. So, let's see. Saturday, or it was technically Friday night. Oh, I should say it before I forget at the end, especially because we're switching games tonight. Just like last week, and I was reminded because I was going to say last Saturday stream, but it was a Friday night stream where we did Higurashi, started chapter 4 here. That is going to have to be the case again this week. So Higurashi Saturday, not happening. Higurashi Friday is happening again. So that'll be Friday night stream. We'll do Higurashi. The thing is, I will be out in the sun, out and about all day Saturday, hanging with friends probably into the night. I'll be up so early. I will be up so late, I assume. So no streams Saturday happening at all. I can guarantee. That is a guarantee no streams will be happening on Saturday. Not even a chance. So, Higurashi Friday night again this week. So no front stream Saturday. Sunday, I would like to do a stream, but it definitely won't be Sunday night. So if I can get back and I'm feeling fine enough for a Sunday day stream, then that's fine. Like I said, upcoming this week, there should be a stream tomorrow night. There should be a stream Thursday and Friday during the days. So that is, or not Friday during the day, but Thursday during the day. So we'll be able to get some stuff. Check out quite some stuff there. So still plenty of streams here this week is basically what I'm trying to say. But keep the Higurashi note in your head here. So last Friday, we read the beginning here of chapter 4. We didn't get super fucking deep. We got introduced to seemingly a new point of view, a new character that we're controlling here, seeing through the lens of for chapter 4. Some kind of detective-y guy sent to Hinamizawa to investigate happenings. Is it to investigate? It's been a few days. Was it to investigate certain? It was because it's obviously happening in the past from a lot of what we've read already. I believe I'll probably have to double check. This is my bad, but I forget. I think the first thing had happened. They had talked about I think. I'm trying to remember 100% what initiated the investigation happening. Was it just the first dam project resistance happening, maybe? He was sent there. Whatever the case is, I'm pretty sure it's something along those lines. Not the important part. I think the more important part is that he was sent to Hinamizawa. He is like, I hope it goes over super quickly and they'll figure it out somewhere else. Because I think they were, as police forces maybe do, disperse to random areas, investigative areas. He got sent to Hinamizawa. We opened at the start of the chapter, his wife, I guess is pregnant? Is that the case? Why does it feel like I don't remember anything? It's probably because it was slightly longer ago, like a day before. I don't want to blame it on just 24 hours. But also because it's all new characters and new, that's basically timeline chunk. I think I'm just less remembering. But yeah. Had some conversations where it was like, oh, I'll be back soon, wife, pregnant wife, don't worry. Almost kind of like a death flag type thing, almost moment. Though I wouldn't be surprised if they reverse. It's like the game wants us to think that this bodes ill for our character here for chapter 4. And his name was Akasaka, I believe it was. If I'm remembering, Akasaka. I'm not even worried about the pronunciation at this point. I'm just trying to remember. Was that his name? I've got like a bunch of A's. A's are floating around in my head. I think that's basically what it was. Detective man. He ran into Oishi here. Got kind of. I think he got like a weird. I think they basically in the text both as like a phrase of warning. He was like, "Oh, fucking Oishi, I hate this fucking guy. He sucks." Because we went back in time. At the very start, I think we saw the beginning, and then it was like, "Oh, and this Oishi guy, I never really trusted him," or something along the lines. And then we flash back to the start of the investigation here. That was, I think that's the best I can remember of it all. Like I said, it wasn't very deep. We didn't get very far. It was mostly establishing this situation, the dynamic between him and Oishi, it seems. Things of that nature. That's what I'll say. Not my best recap. I think we're all allowed off days, though, you know? I think we're all allowed off days. It's a Tuesday. The end of my work week is tomorrow. I'm limping to the finish line of the work week, so try my best. Here we go. Let's read a chunk. Let's read a chunk of Higurashi chapter 4. What is this one called? Himatsubushi. Himatsubushi. It's very funny. I was literally, it says cheap hotel here. I literally looked at this painting thing, and I was like, God, that's just the type of painting you'd see in like a cheap hotel. That is textbook definition cheap hotel painting thing. Let's see. Here we go. Waking up in a cheap hotel in the city was by no means pleasant. I remembered, oh, my mouse isn't there. I remembered even during the long camping trips we had during grade school, I wanted to get home quickly, counting out the days left on my fingers. Waking up this morning, I was somehow reminded of that. Was it a need to be with my wife when she gave birth? A particular type of homesickness? As a productive member of society, as a public servant bound to fulfill his duties, it was pathetic indeed. Those negative emotions faded as I downed my breakfast, which was surprisingly not half bad. Oh, they got a nice continental breakfast going at this cheap hotel. The meeting with the informant that Oishi had provided would be tonight. Until then, couldn't just be lazing around. The Onigafuchi Guardians was protesting the dam's construction in various ways. Included in this was a strategy for improving public relations, which could be categorized into two major forms, combative and peaceful. In regards to the former, as an attempt to keep law enforcement in check, they appealed to the public's sympathy by highlighting the oppressive and inhumane tactics of the police and the brutality of the riot squads. The latter, peaceful route stressed how precious the natural surroundings of Inamazawa was, seeking people who would oppose a dam on environmental grounds. As a part of that, the village of Inamazawa had invited celebrity zoologists and botanists, as well as environmental groups, to advise the nature surrounding the town. According to the news, in recent years, there had been a group calling itself Hinamazawa Nature Watching. What a dope name. Setting up free sightseeing tours. I would have liked to have taken advantage of the opportunity, but when I called the village administrative offices, they said it was too late to apply for the tour, and they were still undecided as to what they would be doing, when they would be doing another one.
そうですか。
I see.
次回の募集はありませんか?
Turn that down just slightly, barely. There we go. I see. So, there's no applications for next time.
残念です。
Too bad.
あんた、環境保護団体さんですか?
Are you a member of an environmental group?
それとも雑誌さんの人?
Or maybe somebody from a magazine?
いえ、個人です。
No, just here privately.
個人? 観光ですかね?
Privately? Then you're a tourist?
観光みたいなものです。
Something like that.
美しい自然を写真に残すのが趣味なんで。
It's my hobby to take pictures that display how beautiful nature can be.
雑誌で とても貴重な自然が残っていると読んだので、楽しみにしていたのですが。
I read in a magazine that there were some precious nature reserves here, so I was looking forward to it. I knew there was an article that had something like that written in it, but I hadn't actually read it. Was it this ad-lib lie not... Or was it... Yeah, oh, was it this ad-lib lie not going to work? However, contrary to my expectations, the person I was speaking to laughed happily.
ならあんた、検査来なさい。
And come, come.
村はちょいと慌ただしいけど、歓迎しますよ。
The village is a little busy right now, but you're totally welcome here.
ぜひそうさせていただきます。ありがとうございます。
In that case, I'll graciously accept the offer. Thank you.
あんた、明日は何ですか？
How are you getting around?
お車？
Car?
もしそうだったら、先にナンバーを聞いてくれますよ。
If that's the case, could I ask for your license plate number?
台湾ないんですがね。
No, there's no ulterior motive behind that. That was probably related to the checkpoints it set up on the way to the village. Oh yeah, there was a whole checkpoint thing that happened in the last stream when it was him and Oishi in the car. And then he had like a different car and they were like, oh, we didn't get your... It's their tactic of like trying to control who was coming in and out kind of thing. And also keep track, I assume. If I didn't give them my license plate number, I'd most likely be hindered in various ways. I thought about using the car I'd borrowed from the prefecture, but I was lost on whether it was okay to tell them that plate number. If the Onikafuji Guardians was behind this incident, there was no guarantee that they wouldn't be able to find out who I was. I had to play it safe, so I elected to refrain from using the car.
いえ、実は車ではないんです。
No, actually, I'm not using a car.
バスか何かがあれば、それで行きたいのですが。
If there's a bus or something, I'd prefer that.
バスならありますよ。
We do have a bus, actually.
もうそれ、廃線になってますそうですがね。
The route is going to be discontinued soon, though.
そんでいらっしゃい。
You can take that.
沖宮の駅から出ますよ。
It departs from Okinomiya Station.
ありがとうございます。
Thank you very much.
探してみることにします。
I'll look out for it.
本当、いつ来ます？
When will you be coming?
ひなみ沢さ初めて？
Is it your first time in Hinamizawa?
初めての土地じゃ、いろいろとご不安でしょう。
If it is, you must be unsure about a lot of things.
教えてくれりゃ、誰か行かせていろいろご案内させますよ。
If you let me know, I can have somebody show you around.
そんな。そこまでしていただくのは申し訳ないです。
Oh, no, I couldn't ask that much of you.
気にせんでください。
Sorry. Don't worry about it.
これも村の自然さ守るための PR なんですから。
That's just a bit of PR we do to protect nature around the village. Judging by what I saw at the checkpoint, the villagers were at the very least wary of outsiders. That's why in order to move in and out of the village freely, I had to travel with somebody like Oishi, or side with the dam protests. Having an interest in the natural environment surrounding the village tied into the peaceful type of PR that the village was using. I was a bit against having a watchdog attached to me, but that might actually work out in my favor. The entire village was fired up about the dam protests, so I might be lucky enough to hear some especially candid opinions from the residents. Given that, there was no real reason for me to refuse their offer.
本当によろしいのでしょうか。
Is it really alright?
でしたら本当に助かります。
If so, that'll really help. After that, I was shown the bus schedule and directed to which bus I should get on. Somebody would come and meet me at the bus stop in the village. After showing me around a spot I took an interest in, there was no doubt they'd bring me to somewhere like an anti-dam information center. Then, over a cup of tea, they'd try to indoctrinate me into accepting their principles and beliefs. Well, if that was their aim, there'd be a lot of freebies involved. The world is about give and take after all. I couldn't be going in a suit. I pulled some plain clothes out of my travel case and changed into something more casual. After that, after calming down by watching some local television, I left the hotel and set out for Okinomiya Station. Walk. Oh, the bus route that I was told would soon be discontinued certainly didn't look that way. There was more than enough trips on the schedule, and the number of passengers was by no means sparse. It was the main link to Okinomiya, the only town in the area. The types of passengers that stood out were older folk who didn't look like they could drive, and housewives who didn't seem like they had a license. If the area was submerged at the bottom of the lake, it wouldn't matter if there was a bus route. That's why it was going to be discontinued, in the unnatural scheme of things. I could catch a glimpse of the government's intent in cutting off their means of transportation to bully the village into emptying out sooner. That damn government. It makes sense, according to the documents. Talks between the Ministry of Construction and locals broke down quite early. The government decided from the start to take an aggressive stance on the matter. It was like the fairy tale with the north wind and the sun trying to get the traveler to remove his cloak. To remove his cloak, probably. Even their bullying had meaning to it. The reason why the Onigafuchi Guardians resisted so violently was because the government was doing unseemly things like that. I was somebody who lived in Tokyo, so for a village or two out in the boonies like this to be submerged didn't seem like a big deal. But I guess there's somebody actually living here. It'd be a vitally huge problem. This route will be discontinued at the end of this financial year. Thank you for your patronage up to this point. We look forward to your continued patronage on our other lines. Okinomiya Transportation. Gazing lazily at the notice of discontinued service posted out inside the bus, I counted down the number of stops until the designated one. Along the way, we passed through the checkpoint without stopping. Along the way, we passed through the checkpoint without stopping. They knew what time the bus was coming, so they had opened up the barricade ahead of time. From here on out was enemy territory. Enemy territory! My palms had at some point become coated in a thin film of sweat.
浮田水道前へ、浮田水道前へ。お降りの方はいらっしゃいませんか?
Now arriving at Ukita Waterworks. Now arriving at Ukita Waterworks. Are there any passengers disembarking? I hurriedly pressed the stop request button as a designated stop was announced. I think I even talked about this for some reason recently on stream, but always as a very nervous kid that I just was, the fucking, like, even riding a bus occasionally, like, to and from school, like, basically mostly from school, right, going home on a bus, like even a school bus, I would get nervous even about, like, pulling the little string when you wanted to let the driver know, like, you need to get off at a stop. I was always like even though I was like I wasn't like a baby or a child, I would always be nervous I would miss, like, pulling the little thing, and then I'd drive past the stop and then I'd just be fucked somehow. You know what I mean? I don't know. I was a very nervous kid about a lot of things, and that was one of them. Missing my stop because of general incompetence, or honestly not incompetence, but just like my mind. This might not be a shocker, but my mind tends to wander sometimes, and like I would always just be afraid, like, oh, I'd just like be daydreaming or something, or just like sitting there chilling on a bus, listen to music or something, and then I'd miss pulling the little fucking thing. Just beep, 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 beep. I just want to pull that, like, the string thing. I don't even know if I'm describing it correctly. It's like the string around the bus. It's kind of like, I don't know how the system works, but you would just pull it, and then it would, like, alert the driver at the front somehow. I don't know what it's called, or how it works to this day. I hurriedly pressed the stop request button as the designated stop was announced. Now it sounds like he's got a button. That's some advanced tech right there. For none of the numerous passengers to be getting off here meant that it must be quite a remote place. In actuality, the stop I got off at was so abnormally run down that I could tell it was barely used. As soon as I stepped out, an intense atmosphere completely different than the interior of the bus assailed my body. Right now, Oishi, or Hondaya, weren't beside me. That's right. At present, I was alone in the middle of enemy territory. My adversaries probably thought I was just an ordinary tourist, but that was nothing more than a ruse. They're really hammering home just how much he views, or at least how much it's been drilled down into him, that, like, the people, seemingly nice people of this village, who at worst are just trying to protect their village, are, like, enemy territory, and the enemies and the villains, like, you know, I assume that's intentional, but very... And again, intentional because we're seeing through, finally, after 3 chapters, we're seeing through the eyes of, like, a different character, you know? And it is at least obviously a point for the story, for the writing here, to be like, yeah, this guy who's been sent to investigate, he's like, yeah, the enemies. I'm in enemy territory. These fucking people want their village fuck them. It's like, jeez. My adversaries probably thought I was just an ordinary tourist, but that was nothing more than a ruse. But if by some mistake my true identity was to be exposed, it brought back the terrifying words I'd heard at the prefectural office. That if somebody was attacked in Yamazawa with a knife, there wouldn't be any evidence left behind. Oh yeah, there was a bit where he's like, yeah, if something bad happens, the village people work quick to cover it up. And I say village people. No, I don't mean the village people of the band or the musical group, unfortunately. Although that would be fun if you got stabbed. And then the village people came YMCA. They just like emerge from the bush and they start singing like YMCA at you. And then shuffle your dead body like back into the bushes. That would be pretty cool. I didn't seem suspicious, did I? My clothing was currently casual. It was exactly the type of clothing that a city slicker that viewed the countryside as a wholesome getaway would wear. Also, I'm making a village people reference. I don't even know if people... there's always like a chance as I get older and older and I'm, you know, older, there's always the little chance that like someone who's watching the stream or the archive is like target audience is like younger than me. And then, like, as old as it makes me seem, I make, like, a reference that's, like, lost on just everyone. The actual fear I have. That and the string you gotta pull for your bus stop. I know! I'm a fucking grandpa now at this point, making village people references. Jesus. I'm a 65-year-old man reading Higurashi on stream. A camera and knapsack. Inside were various things needed for hiking. It was still only June, and maybe it was unusual, but the sun was shining down like it was already the middle of summer. The fact that I didn't bring a hat must seem odd. No, it wasn't something to be that concerned about. It's alright. I was just a normal tourist. Just normal. Was there anything suspicious about me? Asking that as I turned around to look at the bus that was departing. Oh my god. Why would they use this image again? We have not had to see this image for quite some time. It actually startled me again. All the passengers by the window were staring down at me silently. They were staring right at me, as if they had seen right through my proud little outfit. Just, I like proud little outfit as a descriptor. Just staring, looking down on me. Countless stares rained down like needles on me from the windows opened to air out the bus. All that rained down were stares. None of them were saying a word. Oh, they all know. He's been found out. He's so fucked. But all the more. Their silent stares told me more than a million words could. Hurry up and go back to Tokyo. You outsider. No, I'm... There was no reason for me to speak. My quiet voice was drowned out by the sound of the engine. The bus, as if to torment me, set out slowly, and after doing more than enough to intimidate me, sped off. A thin film of sweat began to rise from my entire body. According to the documents, it was a village that seemed wary of outsiders. Its population was small as well. If they saw an unfamiliar face, they would be quick to identify that face as an outsider. On top of that, nobody else had gotten off at this stop. It was a bus stop that they normally just passed on by. Somebody actually getting off there. There was no doubt that they had drawn some attention. But this wasn't a slip-up. They were the ones who directed me to get off at the stop. There was nothing to worry about. I knew that I was just nervous, since this was my first undercover assignment. My more seasoned colleagues referred to us as the new generation that didn't know how to lose their cool, but that wasn't true at all. This might have been said in the first section of this, the stream of chapter 4 here that we did, but was it just random draw that he got sent to Hinamazawa? Was there a reason? Because I don't know, maybe I'm reading way too much into it, but like, why was he chosen? If the offices know that this village is kind of sketchy, allegedly, and maybe it's, whatever, and he's here saying, oh, this is my first time going out. This is my first, It's my first undercover assignment. Shouldn't he get chosen to go to, like, an easier place? Not a place that has, like, apparently, like, is sketchy, is worrisome. If you get stabbed, all the evidence would get hidden. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm reading way too much into it, or maybe it was random chance. I don't know how the fucking investigative police offices people chose who goes where, but I feel like more veteran presence. maybe someone with a bit more of experience should be going to Hinamizawa, if that's the case. Unless it was intentional. They're like, hey, whoever we send to Hinamizawa might not make it back. Send the newest guy. Let him fend for himself. You know? Maybe that's the case. I don't know. My more seasoned colleagues referred to us as the new generation that didn't know how to lose their cool, but that wasn't true at all. Oh, I gotta replicate that. Okay, here we go. My second half of that was pretty bad. I was to say, I could be totally imagining it, but I feel like they thought he would be unassuming versus someone who had serious cop vibes. Okay, so maybe either through his own skills or visage, or perhaps because he's so rookie, new-like, you're saying maybe it was said that he doesn't give off, maybe, okay. I mean, that in theory makes sense. I mean, that's some sort of logic. I don't know if I 100% agree with the... like I said, I probably... if I was in charge of disseminating people to various places, I'd probably be like, hey, the tougher area, maybe, you know, send in a more seasoned cop, but what do I know? In order to calm my breathing down, I exhaled the unpleasant air residing in the pit in my stomach. I couldn't help but pray that my apprehensions would disappear like the white clouds of exhaust expelled from the bus. There was a small shed there to serve as shelter if it rained, and it was there I decided to wait. Inside the shed, one wall was plastered with posters advertising the dam opposition efforts. It was like the heartfelt screams of the villagers were recorded on that wall. Inside that shelter, I felt an inexplicable pressure. It wasn't like I had any real relation to the dam project, but it still made me feel hesitant about being inside there. That was just how filled with the force of denial that space was. And inside that uneasy space was a girl? Oh my god, it's a tiny Rika. Oh, the smile that would be upon my face. Is she sleeping? What is Rika doing there? Oh, now the floods of what happened to Rika in the end of last chapter is all coming back to me, and I'm sad. Oh, and I'm immediately sad. Inside that shed, covered in words written in broad brushstrokes, berating the policies regarding the dam and calling for action, there was a girl sitting there with a drowsy gaze, as if half asleep. The two images clashed so much that I could only stand there dumbfounded for a moment, trapped in such a surreal environment. If I stepped inside, who knew what kind of oafish noises I would accidentally make? I couldn't be disturbing this girl's slumber like that. Having thought this, I gave up on entering the shed. It was just a sleeping kid, so why was I so worked up about it? Finally, I realized. This girl, to us as a married couple, was the very image of our ideal child. Wow, the power of Rika. She is just there chilling and sleeping at a bus stop thing, and he sees her, and he goes, ah. That is the image of our ideal child. The power Rika wields. In an extremely neutral state. She's so powerful. He is in awe. He's like, damn, I hope my child is half as perfect as this girl. Incredible power. Even after our numerous examinations at the hospital, we didn't know for sure what our child's gender was. Whether we could tell if they were a boy or a girl was, in the end, dependent on whether or not we could get an image of their genitalia. Well, that is how it works. There was, of course, no guarantee that it was a girl, but with things the way they were, the possibility was high. Even so, Yuki had been saying that the chances that it was a boy or girl were even. But in my heart, I'd already decided that our coming child was a girl. I mean, again, I don't have any children. I don't plan on having any children anytime soon. But I get, like, if you're a soon-to-be parent and you're like, I hope I get one. But being like this kind of gives me an ick in general. Like, being like, ooh, I know, I feel it. Yeah, like, just, because then if it's not, and you don't know, and you got your hopes up, and you're like, oh, I know it's going to be a girl. And then a boy comes out. Problems. I just said the term, it gives me an ick. Man. Now I sound even worse. Now I sound like a boomer actually using, like, more recent terminology and stuff. So now I'm, like, the worst kind of boomer. Problems. Since the day I decided that until now, it was so fun to imagine how our child would grow up that I couldn't help myself. Amongst those numerous imagined forms, the one that I thought to be the most ideal had materialized right in front of me. Of course, a little of it was due to the circumstances. In my ideal image, her hair would be on the short side. The girl in front of me, though, had long hair. It was almost as if somebody had taken my ideal and made some small adjustments. This is a weird way of dissecting just a random stranger you see at a bus stop. Like, the fact that all this is flowing through his mind is strange to me. It certainly wasn't something unpleasant. Even so, I felt like I was sullying her just by looking at her like that. She had an immaculate, no, a divine air about her. The divine air of Rika. Oh. She's sleepy. That girl, with an angelic smile, with a yawn wide enough you could see her molars, woke up all of a sudden. I didn't mean to peep, but locking eyes with a girl who had just woken up like this somehow made me feel like I was playing a prank on her. I wasn't doing anything shady, but I became flustered. The girl spoke. No. Cried out. Meep. Meep? Like that character on the show with the puppets? With the orange hair. Oh my god, a Muppets reference? That's pretty good. Yep, just like the Muppet that says Meep. I thought it was just one of those greetings kids do. So in order to prove I wasn't a suspicious person, I responded in kind. Meep. Alright. Never mind. This guy is weirder than me. I might say ick, but I don't say meep back to a little girl. Meep, question mark?
Me.
Meep. The girl stared at me dubiously with a doll-like expression. Cute, but cold and hard to read. Well, I wouldn't be surprised. There is, after all, an unfamiliar man right in front of her when she woke up, who responded with meep when she said the same. Suspicious. She definitely thought I was suspicious. Meep.
Me?
Meep. Meep. Anything but another meep. For the love of God, sir. We were both at a loss for words. No, the only one lost was me. The girl in front of me, as if inquiring about my motives, stared at me intently. In this silence, I felt like I was the one who had to say something first. Damn it. This girl was way better at interrogating somebody than Oishi. I'm not anybody suspicious. Which is exactly what a non-suspicious person says. I say this all the time. At least once a day. I'm not anybody suspicious. I'm... Nipa.
Nipa?
Nipa? Nipa! What I could have only described as a cold expression suddenly blossomed into a smile. when that soon infected me. This is just this is absurd. You might be familiar with the term angelic smile. To me, it was like that phrase was created just to describe the smile she gave me. The girl smiling while saying Nipa probably wanted me to return the favor in kind. That's right, this was a kid's form of communication. Having the other person emulate what you just did was a rudimentary form of mutual understanding.
Nipa.
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 Nipa. It was a beautiful afternoon in the early summer. What was I doing?
Nipa.
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 Nipa. Well, whatever. This was interesting in its own way. If making somebody happy with just a smile was a work of angels, then this girl was definitely one of them. I couldn't help but pray that my own child, who was soon to be born, would grow up to be like this girl. That strangely gentle moment was finally brought to the end by the arrival of a car. An older person waved at me from the driver's seat, a dry smile plastered on their face.
どうもこんにちは
Hi there, good afternoon.
遅れて申し訳ないことです
Sorry for being late.
昨日お電話くださった観光の方ですかね
You're the tourist who phoned yesterday, right?
あ、はい。
Huh? Yes.
お待たせして申し訳ね
Sorry to keep you waiting.
いや野良でちょいと遅れましてね
I'm running a little behind because of the farm.
したらとお慣れくださいな
Hop right on in.
天気もまんた崩れそうだからちゃけちゃけご案内しますよ
It looks like the weather isn't going to hold up for much longer, so I'll show you around real quick.
天気ですか？
Huh? The weather?
ああここいらは崩れると早いよ
It changes fast around here.
まあ夕立になるかもな
There'll probably be evening showers again today.
そうなったらほんと写真さ撮るところじゃなくなるでしょ
If that happens, you won't be able to take any pictures.
ほら乗って乗って
Come on, get in, get in.
Me.
Me. Turning around, the girl was standing right behind me with an intrigued expression. Her body language somehow reminded me of a stray cat that followed you around after you played with it a little. So charming.
あれリカちゃまじゃねえですか
Well, if it isn't Rika-chama.
ありがたやありがたや
Praise be, praise be.
Nipa.
Nipa. A girl named Rika with an immaculate smile, and an old man praising her while rubbing prayer beads in his hands. It was a rather mysterious sight to behold. So, the girl turns her face at me, tilting her head a little in a cutesy manner, after seeing that the elder introduced me as a tourist who came to sightsee Hinamizawa.
村を観光したい若者なのです
A youngin' who came to the village for sightseeing. The girl, Rika-chan, said that with a smile she clung onto my arm.
まあね。
Well, yeah.
この村の自然がとても貴重だと聞いたんで、ぜひカメラに収めたいと思ったんだよ。
I heard that this village is surrounded by a precious nature reserve, so I very much wanted to record that with my camera.
私はこう見えても、とっても写真撮影が好きでね。
Even though I look like this, I really like to take pictures.
富竹2号なのです
Tomitake MK2. Damn. You're version 2.0. Huh?
富竹？
Tomitake? Tomitake? Huh?
牧野
Makino,
僕も一緒に行ってはいけませんですか
is it okay if I come along too?
そんなリカちゃまが来ても面白いことなんか何もないですよ
I couldn't. You could come along, Rika-chama, but there's nothing interesting to see.
リカちゃまは境内でマリ遊びでもしててくださいな
You should go play near the shrine or something.
ね
Me. A distinctly displeased expression creeped across Rika-chan's face. Being able to show one's emotion honestly on their faces was a privilege young
も
children
しお差し
have.
支えなければ、この子も連れて行ってあげてください。
If it's not too much of a problem, could you bring this child along with us? When I said those helpful words, another smile spread across Rika-chan's face with another nipa as she clung to me again. Ah, not bad at all. I want this girl to call me Papa Alright, we've entered weird territory. Oh my god. Alright, yeah, alright, no. Alright, weird man. Alright, weird man. Again, just the power of Rika. No. Father. Dad. Daddy? God. What am I doing? Ever since I met this girl, I was... Sorry. Compose myself. Ever since I met this girl, I was completely off my game. Just calm down. Nothing I can do, I guess.
Rika-chama
Rika-chama never listens, even if you say no. Come on, hop on in. Come now, Rika-chama too. The old man descended from the driver's seat and opened up the sliding door of the van, which had Onigashima Alliance Town Council stenciled on the side. Rika-chan brushed me aside, dove into a seat, and began bouncing around right away. It seemed like she was thoroughly enjoying the bouncy springs. Come on now, Rika-chama. If you're like that, our guest can't sit down. Hey, Rika-chama. Huh. Girls are nice. I wonder if my child will play around like this too. No. It was written in the guide to raising a child that you shouldn't dote on them. Kids are kids, if you don't raise them strictly without spoiling them. It's soft and springy, Nipa! Nipa. I'm definitely going to be a terrible father. It was decided that I would be a doting parent before my child was ever born. Even born. Well then, sir, I'll show you around some places that I think look nice. Have you eaten lunch yet? Yeah. I had a light meal at the hotel. Is that so? Well then, let's get going. We're setting off on a tour of Inamizawa. Yay! Is it alright if I call you Rika-chan? Sure. My name is Rika Furude. I can already do addition in the tens digits. Wow. Oh, is that true? That's amazing. I don't count on my fingers. I can do it all in my head. The way she insisted upon that was just too cute. At some point, the nervousness I had about being alone in enemy territory had evaporated like it was never there at all. I had to be at least a little thankful that I met this girl. Well then, let's get going. It's time for Inamizawa nature watching. The old man stepped on the gas with a great deal of gusto. Oh, don't get on the wobbly bridge. It's scary. Oh my god. What? Yeah, this is good actually. I love observing nature. The old man, who was apparently named Makino, was he the same Makino that was listed as the auditor of the Onigashima Guardians? Showed me around places that were all breathtaking. Even though I wasn't really here for sightseeing, I couldn't help but be impressed. First of all, this was different from the simple scenery of a city. The scenery of a charming village like this, no matter how mundane it seemed to the villagers, had a tranquil appeal to it. At first, I was only releasing the shutter as part of my tourist act, but midway through I found myself taking pictures out of pure interest. Tourist traps had their own unique allure to them, but there was nothing like that here. I was especially captivated by the unspoiled nature of the place. If there wasn't that whole uproar of the dam, I would want to bring Yuki with me here some other time. I wanted her to breathe in this fresh air, as well as show her this rejuvenating, verdant scenery.
こんなのが面白いのですか？
Is it something like this that interesting?
赤坂は変な人なのです。
You're a strange person, Akaska.
いや、こういう円筒状の郵便ポストなんて今はとても貴重だよ。
No, these cylindrical mailboxes are rare nowadays.
どことなく漂うノスタルジックな雰囲気は
They have a...
渋いと思わないかな。
My bad. They have a certain nostalgic air about them. You wouldn't happen to think they're elegant, would you?
ひなみ沢は楽しいですか？
Is Hinamizawa fun?
まあ楽しいよ。
Yeah, it's fun.
退院したらぜひ家内を連れてもう一度来たいよ。
Once she's discharged from the hospital, I'd like to bring my wife here at least once.
その時には生まれている子供も一緒にね。
With the child that would be born by that time.
今は出産を控えて入院しているんだ。
Right now she's in the hospital waiting to give birth.
予定日がもうすぐでね。
She's due any day now.
君みたいな可愛い女の子だといいんだけど。
It'd be nice if there's a cute girl like you.
お客さんはもうすぐおめでたですかいね。
Sir, it seems like congratulations are soon to be in order.
そんないけねえよ。
Still, that's not good.
奥さん放り出してこんなとこに遊びに来てちゃ。
To leave your wife behind and play around in a place like this. Oh, that's a good point. They fucking nailed him there. Because they don't know that he's on, duty as a job thing. I was momentarily at a loss for words. It was exactly how Makino said. There was no good reason for a man who was waiting for his wife to give birth to be playing around idly in this place. Did I slip up?
まあ
Well...
ひなみ沢への旅行は前々からの予定だったんで。
We had already planned this trip to Hinamizawa a long time ago.
妻の家族が付き添ってくれているから大丈夫だし。
My wife's family is with her, so it's alright.
そんなに前から予定してたんなら大自然ウォッチング。
If you had this planned so far in advance,
もしかめ間に合わんとかいね。
then how come you didn't make the sign-up deadline for the nature watching?
いやそんだったらこんな窮屈な思いさせんと綺麗な観光バスで回れたのに。
If you did, you could have toured around in a nice bus instead of being cramped up in here. It didn't seem as if Makino was actually digging for anything, but if this conversation continued any longer, it'd put some unexpected holes in my cover. I halted the conversation by pretending to take another picture. Shut up, old man.
さあ最後の一番景色のいいとこさ案内しましょうかね。
Well then, for our last stop, I'll take you to the place with the best view. It was slightly before evening. The sun was still burning brightly, but a cool breeze had begun to mix itself into the air. It seemed my exploration of Inamizawa with Rika-chan was just about done.
一番景色のいいところですか？
The place with the best view?
そんなリカちゃま境内からの景色さを置いて他にはありませんやね。
Well, Rika-chama, where else could it be but the view from around the shrine? Hearing that, Rika-chan smiled even more.
では赤坂を僕のお家へご招待なのです。
Well then, I'll introduce you to my home, Kasuka. Huh?
リカちゃんのお家って
By Rika-chan's home, you mean... Huh?
神社ですよ。
The shrine.
古で神社。
Frude Shrine.
高台にありましてね。
There's an observation platform.
景色さ見られるんですよ。
You can see some really pretty scenery.
フルで神社。
Frude Shrine? The girl who called Frude Shrine her home, Rika. If I remember correctly, her full name was Rika Frude. And Frude was... That's right. One of the three families. Even if the Sonozaki family is said to hold all the actual power, it was still one of the old houses that held some authority. No, more important than that right now was Frude Shrine. If I remember correctly, Oishi had told me. Within the grounds of the Frude Shrine, there were the offices of the Onagafuji Guardians. And since the land around Frude Shrine were private property, the police couldn't set foot there heedlessly. uproot shrine, where even Oishi couldn't simply set foot into. The main base of operations for the Onigifuchi Guardians. I had been given the unexpected opportunity to enter there. I couldn't have asked for more.
楽しみです。
I'm looking forward to it.
ぜひお願いします。
Please, if you would.
じゃあ酒々参りましょうかね。
Well then, let's get there quick.
天気も少し怪しいですからな。
The weather seems to be getting a little iffy. The sky had suddenly become overcast. It wouldn't be odd if it started raining soon. The cicadas, as if trying to finish their daily allotment of chirps before the evening, cried out even more fervently. It's gonna be a bummer when this all ends poorly for Akasaka here. Hold on to these bright and cheery moments. The van stopped in the shrine's parking lot. Also parked there were numerous other vans with loudspeakers mounted on top of them to act as makeshift propaganda vehicles. On the side of each vehicle was scrawled, "The dam project must be demolished. Defend our homeland to the last. No Oyashiro-sama's anger," or a slogan of a similar kind. They gave the feeling that even without using the loudspeakers, there was enough to overwhelm any onlookers. Vertical banners were erected in various places. The contents of those banners were similar. They were all objections against the dam or crude insults towards the government. There were horizontal banners, placards, and so on and so forth. They proclaimed that without a doubt, this was the headquarters of the Onigifuchi Guardians. For Rika-chan, however, this hectic place was also her home.
着きましたのですよ。
We have arrived.
ただいまなのです。
I'm home. Rika-chan crawled over my lap and exited the vehicle first. Makino had noticed that I was looking at protest banners.
前座はダム反対運動の事務所も兼ねてましてね。
The shrine also has the offices of the anti-dam movement.
こんな風景もあんたらには反安保闘争みてえで懐かしいでしょ。
For you, this probably brings back memories of the anti-security treaty conflicts back in the day. Student movements against government policies, movements that bordered on terrorist activity, were at one time commonplace, if only in order to garner global attention. Students holding out in lecture halls, brawling with the riot squads that charged in. It was an age where wasting one's youth like that was widely considered a road to glory. It was slightly before my time.
私は別に活動家ではありませんので。
I'm not really an activist or anything.
普通に学び、普通に卒業しました。
I studied without incident and graduated without incident.
国の政策にあのような暴力や立てこもりで対抗しようというのには、
I don't
私は同意できません。
really agree with the violence or occupations they use to protest the government's policies.
はあ。
Oh.
あんたそれはそれで立派な意見さお持ちだね。
You have quite the nice opinion there.
政策に意見したかったら、同じ意見の政治家に投票するか、自ら政治の世界に飛び込み、正当な手続きを持って意見を主張するべきであると思っています。
If you have an opinion on a policy, vote for the candidate who shares your view, or enter the political world yourself and assert your beliefs in a lawful manner. This guy, get a load of this fucking guy.
それが民主政治の原点です。
That is the foundation of democracy.
それに暴力で挑戦するなど
I don't think
あってはならないと思います。
I don't think that's something you should challenge with violence. For a youngin, you have some fine beliefs. I saw that feeling of respect reflected in Makino's gaze. At that moment, something tugged at my sleeve.
赤坂が何を言っているのか全然わからないのですよ。
I have no idea what Akasaka is saying. Rika-chan, feeling like she was the only one who didn't understand the conversation, had a look of displeasure on her face. That expression was so charming, I had to keep myself from grinning like an idiot. It's often said that a father wants to spoil his daughter rotten. I think I understood that feeling very well.
ごめんね。
Sorry.
リカちゃんには難しい話だったね。
It was a little bit hard for Rika-chan to understand, wasn't it?
日本は平和の国だから、自分の言いたいことは平和的に訴えなきゃいけない。
Japan is a peaceful country, so you have to argue your point in a peaceful manner.
暴力で訴えてはいけないということさ。
You shouldn't resort to violence, in other words. No matter how much I explained, a girl who was just boasting about being able to carry digits over when adding things probably wouldn't understand. It probably wasn't something to talk about in front of Rika-chan anyway.
では赤坂、
So then, Kasuka,
僕たちの村はどうやったらダムに沈まなくなるのですか？
how do you think we should keep our village from being flooded by the dam? Damn right, Rika. Hit him with the question. God, Rika's so good. Hit him with the question. Yeah, stare at him like that. Give him the mean mug. Get him to answer that question, huh? How are we gonna fucking protect our village, huh? Huh? Mr. Government Man, I see right through your disguise. You're not a tourist. Get out of here. Rika, kill him. That's just me predicting. I don't know, but it'd be very funny if Rika just murders this man. Just as a steep contrast between like the very start where he's just so infatuated with just her appearance and just the power she wields, and then like she probably just stab him with a knife. And then the village people come out and sing YMCA and carry his body out, you know? That's called a callback joke. How do you think we should keep our village from being flooded by the dam, huh? Damn, that powerful face. Even if I regretted my careless words, it was too late now. Here I was at the main headquarters of an organization, telling them their way of doing things was illegal. Yeah, this guy. He let his guard down too much. And also he's spouting his nonsense. Preaching that violence is not the answer. A complicated feeling had mixed itself in with the respect of Makino's gaze. It was then I finally realized. It wasn't that simple. There wasn't a soul who would argue that what I was saying wasn't correct. Using violence to get one's way was something that everybody knew you shouldn't be proud of. However, right now, Hinamizawa was in a predicament that couldn't be overcome with peaceful means alone. The legality of the Hinamizawa Dam project, through the efforts of the various propaganda campaigns enacted by the Onigafuchi Guardians, was being called into question. If they further strengthened their campaign, they might be able to suspend or change the construction plans. But that was at the most just a possibility. If the government proceeded with the construction as planned, it wouldn't be long before this place was at the bottom of the lake. If it wasn't for the unrestrained resistances of the residents of Hinamizawa, this place might already have been underwater.
僕たちはここでしか生きていけないのです。
We can't live anywhere else other than here.
都会では生きていけないのです。
We can't live in the city. The words of this remarkable young girl were all too accurate, carrying with them the screams of the hearts and minds of the residents of Hinamizawa. Of course, there was nothing I could say to respond to that. I could only respond to Makino and Rika-chan's heavy words with silence.
すみません。
Yeah, get this guy apologizing. You get him, Rika. This is why we are firmly entrenched in the Rika respect zone. Only Rika has the charm and then the authority to fucking just beat this man. All within the span of a couple hours. Kasuka says, I'm sorry.
よそ者が気安く言えるような問題ではなかったですね。
This isn't a problem that an outsider should lightly just poke their nose into, is it?
謝罪します。
I apologize. Makino, unsure of how to respond for a while, could only laugh pointlessly.
お客人たちのようなよそに住んでる方々には関係ねえことですよ。
It's nothing that concerns guests that make their homes somewhere else.
南沢さん気に入ってくださったんなら、お客人のお友達みんなにも南沢さん素晴らしいところだって宣伝してください。
If you enjoyed here, please tell all your friends that Hinamizawa is a wonderful place, please.
そういうのが何十年何百年と広がっていけば、この村さダム底に沈めるなんてふざけた計画もやがてはついえるんですかね。
If word spreads to dozens, maybe even hundreds of people, then that ridiculous plan to submerge this place at the foot of a dam will eventually fall apart. He followed that with a smile that said, please don't think much of it. Makino letting me not worry that much really was a stroke of good fortune. Becoming infatuated with the idea of making friends with the little girl had made me completely forget my apprehension at being in enemy territory. Being reminded of this right before I was going to step foot into their headquarters might have been a good thing. If we'd had this exchange in the middle of their office, if there was a short-tempered youth in there, it may have come at me. Thinking of how extreme they were, in the worst case, my life could have been in danger. It seemed that I looked quite despondent at that moment. Makino, thinking he had said something wrong, became flustered, trying to think of a way to improve my mood.
本当に軽率なことを言いました。
I was a bit careless just now.
本当にすみませんでした。
I'm very sorry.
いいえ、
No,
そんなねお気にされないでください。
don't worry that much about it.
今日案内してもらった村のあちこちはどこもとても美しく素晴らしい場所ばかりでした。
The sights you showed me around the village were all beautiful, wonderful places.
もう一度来たいと心底思わされました。
I really do want to come here one more time.
そんな美しい村がダムの湖底に沈むことになれば必死の戦いになるのもわかります。
If this beautiful village is going to be submerged at the bottom of a lake, I can understand why you would fight so desperately. I had somehow managed to use my despondent look to change the topic in my favor. After a bit, Makino had returned to his usual high spirits. It seemed he believed I completely sympathized with his point of view.
そうそう、
No, no.
そんな話はこれくらいにしましょう。
Let's leave the talk at that for now.
本当にとても景色さいいところがあるんです。
There's a place around here with a really great view.
行きましょうですよ、赤坂。
Let's go, Kasuka. Rika-chan, seemingly happy to be free from all the boring and gloomy adult talk, bounded up the stone steps. There was no real need to run, but in order to catch up with her, I also darted up the steps. There were several tents belonging to the town council erected on the shrine grounds. Inside the tents were several folding tables and chairs, and a number of the older town council members were livening things up with chit-chat. They weren't saying anything incendiary, like, the dam project must be destroyed. It was just some relaxed idle chit-chat between local geezers. The normal sort of calming scenery. At the entrance of a shed that looked like a meeting place, there was a large sign erected with Onigafuji Guardians headquarters written in bold brush strokes. That was their base of operations. To be honest, it was a bit of a letdown. If you ask what I had been imagining, this is a bit embarrassing, but I'd have thought it would be something much more dramatic, with barbed wire fences and barricades. My first impression of the place, though, was completely different from that. It looked like a simple backwater town hall. It didn't look like anything other than exactly that. The old folks who were chatting had noticed Rika-chan's presence.
リカちゃまじゃないの。
Well, isn't it Rika-chama?
もう子供はお家に帰る時間だよ。
It's time for little kids to head on home.
ここは僕のお家なのですよ。
This is my home. The old folks guffawed, since she wasn't wrong. From that exchange, I could tell that this Rika Furuta girl was loved by everybody.
牧野さん、
Oh!
その人
We got an old man sprite. Makino-san, who's that?
電話をくれた観光の人は
The tourist who phoned? Question mark?
そんですよ。
That's right.
こちら村長さんに、ひなめ沢の組吉村長さん。
This is the mayor of Hinamazawa, Mayor Kimiyoshi. He smiled brightly, but there was no mistaking he would be scary if he got angry. By the looks of things, this old man was the president of the Onigafuji Guardians, none other than Kichiro Kimiyoshi himself.
ようこそひなみ沢へ
Welcome to Hinamazawa.
いかがでしたか
What do you think?
静かでゆっくりしたところでしょう
It's a quiet and relaxing place, isn't it?
ええ、
Yeah.
今日一日美しい場所をいくつも堪能させていただきました。
I was able to appreciate a multitude of beautiful places throughout the whole day.
貴重な機会をお与えくださったことを感謝します。
I'm happy for being granted this rare opportunity.
ふえ
Ooh.
今時の若い方なのにまた真摯な方だね
Even though you're one of those youngins, you're quite the gentleman.
うん、
喜一郎、
Old man noises. Kichiro,
赤坂に見晴らしのいいところを案内したいのですよ。
I want to show Akasuka a cool place. Thinking that the formalities between myself and the mayor had gone on for too long, Rika-chan butted into the conversation. For her to call the mayor by his first name, I felt it was a little strange, but none of the villagers seemed to mind. A girl of the Furude household, one of the 3 families. She was probably different than the average villager.
赤坂、こっちなのですよ。
Akasuka, over here! Rika-chan tugged at my sleeve. Not resisting, I allowed myself to be pulled over. And waiting for me was a magnificent view.
これは ごい。
This is amazing. It was an observation deck that looked down on the village. They, knowing this was the best view in the entire village, kept quiet as I stood there awestruck. I was holding a camera, but I completely forgotten to even glance through the viewfinder. This view, no matter what kind of film it was printed on, it wouldn't be able to show everything. If there was a way to explain it, it would only be what I would be able to put into words. It was just such a breathtakingly spectacular view that I struggled to find a comparison. For a while, I was left awestruck, could only stand there and wonder. A cool breeze helped abate the heat rushing through my body. That comfortable sensation also left me speechless. Rika-chan, who had been holding onto my sleeve the entire time, spoke.
僕の一番のお気に入りの場所なのですよ。
This is my favorite spot. As she said that, she showed me another adorable smile. That smile seemed very fleeting. If you ask why, that's because the view from her favorite spot would eventually be submerged under the deep green waters of the dam reservoir.
こんな村が湖底に沈むことになってるなんて
Man, I
信じられないよ。
can't believe it's just gonna be the power of this village and Rika that are gonna be enough to radicalize this man. I hope this chapter turns into he's immediately gonna go back and he's gonna be like, we gotta stop the dam project. I hope that's the turn we're about to take at some point. I hope he realizes he's working for the wrong side, man. Kasuka says, I just can't believe that this village is going to end up at the bottom of a lake. I said it quietly so that only Rika-chan could hear it. I regretted it as soon as I did, for those words were all too cruel. However, Rika-chan didn't let them cast a cloud on her expression. In fact, she replied with a smile.
沈みませんよ。
It won't sink.
ダム計画なんて必ずなくなっちゃいますのです。
The dam project will definitely go away. It was just like a little girl to say something like that. There was no basis for her saying so. Why does me saying Akasaka sound like Kasuka? If you're saying, like, pronunciation-wise, like, I sound bad, that's nothing new. I'll take my lumps. If people want to clown on the way I say words or names or whatever, for a language I don't naturally speak, hey, I'll let them laugh at me. I don't care. I'm over it at this point. But it's fine. You can point out. It's all good. Also, as I'm just reading, so once I get set on one way, it's very hard. I've talked about it before, especially when we were going through, like, Umineko and stuff, like, very hard for me to then, like, divert. After I've settled on such a whatever pronunciation, even if it's wrong. I just gotta settle on something, because I can't keep flip-flopping too much, because then, like, it would be more confusing for both myself and probably someone just randomly listening. So, I just gotta settle on a thing. Damn if it's right. Damn if it's wrong. You know? There is no basis for her saying so. It was just her wish.
赤坂はこの村が沈んでしまうと思っていますか？
Akasaka, do you think that this village will be submerged?
沈んでほしくなんか
It's not that I
ない
want
よ。
It's not that I want it to be. I knew how important the dam was. I knew that it was necessary. I just didn't want to recognize the sacrifices that would be made. I agreed with the project in general, but couldn't agree with some of the details. I am normally not that hungover about pronunciation, but calling Rina always gets me. I agree with the project in general, but couldn't agree with some of the details. But if it meant that this girl's beloved scenery wouldn't be taken away from her, I might be able to object to the dam. The running joke, especially on this channel, not only for visual novels that I end up reading here on the channel, but any game I play, like, the running joke on the channel is that, like, oh, I accidentally hit the thing. We'll go back there. I'm not a very stubborn person, but if you ask certain people, ask certain friends, they'll say in general I'm a pretty stubborn person. But when it comes to like my channel and like me playing games or whatever, I'm a pretty stubborn person. So usually, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, depending on how you look at it, the moment someone says I'm doing something wrong or says I should do something a different way, and I know that you're not necessarily coming at me at this angle or anything, but it like pronunciating something, I mixed pronouncing and enunciating there, but I'll stick with it. Pronunciating, doing a certain game a certain way or something, so it's like, oh, like trying to backseat and be like, you should do it like this. Immediately, my response, as childish as it is, I'm such a stubborn person, I'll be like, no. Now I'm definitely going to stick with how I was doing it, so. Not necessarily saying it was with the Reina pronunciation, but, partly. Partly there is a bit of stubbornness to me where I'm like, you know what? Not like I'm trying to get a rise out of people, but when people are like, oh no, it should definitely be done this way or said this way or whatever, you should do this. It's like, no, I should do what I want to do. It's my fucking stream. Like, if I wanted to be really combative about it, I'd be like, don't watch. I'm just chilling. You're the one who decided to click on the video. So. And so, like, if someone can say, like, oh, it's me, you know, being stubborn or being contrarian or whatever, I don't necessarily view it as that. It's just like, if that's what I must do to get people to understand that, you know? In the nicest way possible, I will cut my own nose to spite my face, you know? It's how I am. What was this last line I read? I agreed with the project in general, but couldn't agree with some of the details. But if it meant that this girl's beloved scenery wouldn't be taken away from her, I might be able to object to the dam. I might be able to ignore the interests of the nation, the development of Japan, all for the sake of one girl's smile. God, Rika's so strong. I'm not really much of a humanist, but how sentimental of me.
沈みませんよ。
It won't be submerged.
ダムの計画はもうすぐなくなりますですから。
Because the dam project will soon go away. Her words weren't just hopes and dreams, but were seasoned with a hint of resolve, as if she was talking about an unchangeably predetermined outcome. As surely as the sun rising in the east,
もうすぐなくなる
it'll be gone soon? Wanting to ask her why she believed that, I turned around.
はい、
Yes,
なくなりますのですよ。
it'll be gone.
どうしてそう言い切れるんだい
What makes you say that?
それはなのです。
Well, you see?
うん、
She seemed to want to answer, but as though unable to find the right words, she swallowed back what she was about to say.
赤坂が何をしてもしなくても、
Regardless of what Akasaka does,
ダム計画は今年で終わりになってしまうのです。
the dam project will end this year.
もう決まっていることなのですよ。
Damn. It's already been decided. That was a lie. If something like that had already been decided, then the Onagafuji Guardians would have no reason to continue existing. From my point of view, it was like they were doing nothing more than throwing themselves into an endless battle. If they knew the dam project was cancelled, it would feel much more relaxed around here. This village, though, could hardly be called relaxed. For evidence of that, I just had to remember how charged the atmosphere was at the checkpoint, or at the bus stop. The villagers, with their misplaced resolve, were still fighting. And this girl, even knowing the villagers' grim resolve, had already declared their victory. The villagers throwing themselves into this endless war, and this optimistic girl who said they had already won. That contrast was somehow strange.
どうしてそう思うんだい
Why do you think that?
何か確信があるなら私に教えてくれないかい
If you know something that makes you that confident, could you tell me? No. What are you, a cop? Rika-chan stayed silent for a while, seemingly choosing what to say.
だって、
Because...
だって
Because? She looked like she was lost on whether she should continue or not. As if she was troubled on whether it was okay for her to say it. That kind of expression.
決まっていることなのです。
It's already been decided.
他に言いようがないのですよ。
There's no other way to say it.
まっているって言ったって。
It's already been decided, huh? Really is just like a little girl to say something like that. I couldn't believe it was actually true. She was the only one saying such things with such confidence. My real mission, that I'd forgotten about during this fun-filled day, resurfaced at the back of my mind. The kidnapping of the minister's grandson. Had the Onigafuchi guardians... Oh! I'm a fucking idiot. Okay, so... I'm sure everyone was yelling at the screen, especially on the VOD, as I was doing this, and I was like, what was it that ignited the whole investigation, people having to be sent out and everything? Again, I'll take my lumps on this one. I forgot the whole bit about the fucking, the kidnapping thing, which is actually very important. So that's on me. I forgot that was the inciting incident. So, if you were looking at the screen for the last hour and 15 minutes being like, how could he have forgotten that it wasn't something that happened at Inamazawa? It was the fucking kidnapping thing. There we go. I remember now that it was said in the game. I forgot that was the whole bit here at the start of chapter 4. The whole thing. Alright, so that's why that makes a lot of sense. It's all good. It's part of the journey here. Had the Onigafuchi guardians kidnapped the minister's grandson? Wow, I had blanked out even that part of the chapter 4 we read last Friday. Like, there was multiple things. Obviously, it was the start of the chapter, and then there was the bits, the extra, the tips about it. Rough. Alright. Well, kidnapped the minister's grandson, and already succeeded in negotiating the cancellation of the dam project? Question mark? Did Kimiyoshi actually already know this and was just playing dumb? Was that what this girl was really telling me?
Akasaka.
Akasaka? There, do you want me to say it like that? Akasaka? The girl called out my name suddenly.
なんだい?
What is it?
東京へ帰れ。
Oh shit, she means business. Go back to Tokyo. Huh? I was only surprised at that sudden command. Ever since I came to this village, I never once mentioned I was from Tokyo. Damn, I'm actually super glad that we're like, cut to the chase. Let's have Rika know that he's a fucking cop guy and just threaten him. I didn't want this to last so long where they were just, having such a fun time together for like streams and streams and streams. Like, let's cut to the chase. This guy sucks at being undercover. Well, based on my accent, she might have been able to guess where I was from. What was I getting so worked up over? It was probably a sudden complete change in her demeanor.
あなたはさっさと東京に帰った方がいい。
You should definitely go back to Tokyo right now.
でないとひどく後悔することになる。
If not, you will woefully regret it. God, her voice and the word she's using is like, it's like she's being possessed by a stern ghost. Something has come over her. The girl had been holding my sleeve the entire time. She'd been tugging at my sleeve since hurriedly dragging me over to show me this wonderful view. But this was the adorable Rika-chan who I had spent the entire day with. There was no way she could have replaced with a doppelganger when I wasn't looking. She had been holding onto my sleeve this entire time. But somehow this girl was someone other than Rika-chan. She looked like Rika-chan, but she wasn't. She was some girl I had never met before. That girl had told me in an indifferent voice that I would eventually regret coming to this village from the bottom of my heart.
それがあまりにもみすぼらしくて気の毒な姿だから。
That would be an incredibly pathetic thing to see.
今のうちから警告してあげているのです。
So I thought I'd warn you right now.
どうして
Oh no, here come the village people.
私が後悔することになる?
Young man. This said young man. Why? Would I come to regret it?
いちいちうるさいな。
Stop whining. Damn, Rika hits you with the stop whining and then strikes a pose like this? How do you not just fall to your knees and piss your pants? I'd be like, oh no, Rika's gonna kill me! Rika says, stop whining. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, that I was hearing such cold words come from Rika-chan's mouth. I just couldn't believe it. Was somebody impersonating her? Using ventriloquism or something? Thinking that, I wanted to take a look around, but the girl's gaze had me pinned down, making me unable to move.
あなたの親はあなたが赤信号の横断歩道の真ん中にいるとき、どうして危ないのかを全部説明し終えるまであなたの手を引っ張らないの？
When you tried crossing the road, when the don't walk sign was up, did your parents finish explaining why it was dangerous before pulling you back to the sidewalk?
引っ張るでしょ。
They'd pull you back right away, wouldn't they?
まず歩道まで連れ戻してからなぜ危険なのかを解くでしょ。
They'd pull you back before explaining why it was dangerous, wouldn't they?
つまりはそういうこと。
In other words, it's something like that. The girl I had spent time with, Rika Furude, would not speak like that. She would speak with a cuteness befitting her age, with brief childish remarks, expressing her emotions honestly. She definitely wouldn't speak with such pointed words.
警告はした。
I've warned you.
勘違いしないでほしいのは私があなたを嫌いだからこういうことを言ってるわけじゃないってこと。
Don't get the wrong idea. It's not like I'm saying this because I hate you.
死んでもいい人に危険なんかを教える必要はないのだし。
You don't need to tell somebody who's better off dead that they're in danger. Damn.
君は誰だ？
Who are you?
リカちゃんじゃ
You're not Rika-chan.
ない。
Hmm? Tee hee, hee hee hee. As soon as I accused her of not being Rika-chan, she let out a strange, quiet giggle. Oh god. It was a laugh not befitting a child of her age. It was like she was possessed by something. Her change was just that total and complete. Was Rika-chan being attacked by some terrifying phenomenon? That occult idea came to mind without any sort of hesitation. Rika-chan is acting strange. Somebody, help! Help! Help me! Thinking that I'd yell that, I turned to where the mayor was. I immediately realized he was looking at us with a smile. That's right, to him, it looked like nothing more than me and Rika-chan fooling around. He didn't notice that there was something terrifying happening to her.
赤坂の怖がり。
Akasuka is such a coward. Do you wish your child came out of your wife acting like this? Demon child? Gargoyles! Dark-sided! The girl had obviously grasped that I was afraid. Noticing that and calling me a coward, she laughed again. That cackling girl, approaching me in a strange manner while still laughing, lost her balance and fell flat on her face. Rika-chan fell down. It was just a while before I had extended a hand to help her without hesitation. But now, extending a hand to this ominous girl who looked like Rika-chan but wasn't, required a bit more courage than I had at the moment. Me. The girl cried out thus. She then squirmed upright and dusted herself off. Afterwards, she looked around restlessly as a blank expression crept across her face. You've got to be kidding me. Was she making fun of me? My way of acting. It was as though, after being possessed by something, she had lost her memories of what happened.
冗談だろ
You're joking, right?
リカちゃん
Rika-chan?
Me.
Me? I don't know if Rika-chan had heard me or not. She just cried out like that, as if questioning herself.
お客人
Hey, mister!
リカちゃまも
Rika-chama too!
お茶が入りましたよ
Tea's ready!
塩大福もあるからにぜひ食ってきんさい
There's some snacks too, so please come on, have some. An old lady wearing a smock was waving energetically from the entrance of the office. Hearing that there were snacks, Rika-chan's expression changed.
な。はーいなのです
Yay! A carefree smile. That was a familiar smile, the one that belonged to the embodiment of my ideal daughter. Any hint of the creepy girl that was just there, spouting sinister words, had vanished. Come on, Rika-chama! Wash your hands first. There aren't any manju here for dirty hands. I wash them real good. Meep. Just like the Muppet. Rika-chan responded with vigor, running off to the washing station that was along the side of the office. She stopped halfway, turning around to call to me. If Akasuka doesn't hurry up, I'll eat a share of manju too. They're steaming fresh.
Oh.
Huh?
お手手を洗わない人はおまんじゅうが食べられないのですよ。
People who don't wash their hands aren't allowed to eat any manju. No matter how you looked at it, that was Rika-chan. Those words and the way she said them, no matter how you heard them, they were definitely Rika-chan's. Come on now, mister. You're the adult here, so show her how it's done. The old lady urged me to wash my hands. Without any resistance, I lined up beside Rika-chan at the wash station. Splish, splash. I stared at Rika-chan, intent on washing her hands properly, like she had probably learned at school. Meep. Did I do something wrong?
間違い
Huh? By wrong, you mean
僕のお手手の洗い方です。
how I'm washing my hands?
金シールを4個しかもらったことないです。
I only got 4 gold stickers for it.
僕はお手手を洗うのがきっと下手なのですよ。
I'm probably bad at washing my hands.
間違ってなんかないよ。
You're not doing anything wrong.
それだけしっかり洗えてれば十分だよ。
If you're washing them that carefully, that's more than enough.
それだけではダメなのですよ、赤坂。
But it's not, Kasuka.
ちゃんとたわしを使って爪の間の赤も落とさないと金シールはもらえないのです。
If you don't use a brush and clean out the dirt underneath your fingernails, you won't get a gold sticker. How dare someone only give her 4 stars?
リカちゃんは真面目で偉いな。
Rika-chan, you're very diligent. That's something to be proud of.
ニパー、赤坂に褒められましたのです。
Nippa! I was praised by Akasuka. No matter how you looked at it, it was Rika-chan. There was no trace of that girl from before. Exactly what was that sinister girl?
リカちゃん、さっきのあれはどういう意味だい？
Rika-chan, what was the meaning of what just happened now?
さっきリカちゃんは私に東京へ帰れってそう言っただろ。
Very interesting for him to be like, hey, what the hell was that all about? Especially where we contrast with fucking Kechi. Whenever something bad happened with him, he'd be like, I'm just gonna ignore that and then never bring it up again and hope that hopefully it just goes away. Whenever like the awkward moments happen or the scary moments happen to him, he'd be like, if I just think that didn't happen, it'll just go away, hopefully, maybe. And Akasuka's here is like an actual adult. He's like, hey, you just threatened me to go back to Tokyo. What the hell was that about? Just now, you told me to go back to Tokyo, didn't you?
言いましたのですか？
Did I say that? I was at a loss for words. She didn't remember what that girl just now had said. Like I would ever believe something as occult as that could happen. Like I would ever believe that Rika-chan could be possessed by that strange girl and say those creepy things.
リカちゃんが確かにそう言ったよ。
Rika-chan, you definitely said that.
みー。
Meep. Her expression told me that. Despite me saying so, she had no idea. She wasn't playing dumb. She actually didn't know. Exactly what was that just now? Just as Rika-chan had, I let a look of confusion creep across my face. The two of us, both looking like we had no idea what was going on, must have certainly been a humorous sight to behold. While partaking of tea and snacks, I was shown a propaganda film shot by the Guardians that highlighted their resistance efforts. Older folks started talk passionately on how long and grueling the fight against the dam was, but they fell on deaf ears. I was transfixed by Rika-chan, who had heard these stories countless times before, and was nodding off. Eventually, Rika-chan noticed I was staring at her, and smiled as she rubbed her eyes. That smile was Rika-chan's, after all. There was no hint of that sinister shadow. After that, my unreasonable fear of Rika-chan lessened with the passing of time, but I could by no means forget what had happened. It eventually grew dark. The mayor said that they had prepared dinner, but I said I would come again tomorrow and took my leave. I had to return to the hotel and follow my regular report with the section chief.
そうですか。
I see.
では、また明日もぜひいらっしゃい。
Well then, please come again tomorrow.
お電話さくれれば、すぐに迎えを出しますんでね。
If you phone, we'll send somebody to pick you up right away.
ご好意感謝します。
I appreciate your hospitality.
ぜひ明日も遊びに来ようと思います。
I'll probably come again and enjoy myself tomorrow.
ねえ、さしてあげてくださいな。
Yes, please do.
あんた、レイカちゃまに大層気に入られたみたいだしね。
Seems that Rika-chama has taken a pretty big liking to you.
赤坂は明日も来ますですか？
Kasuka, are you coming again tomorrow?
明日は5次元で終わりですから、3時くらいに来てくれると嬉しいのですよ。
I finish after 5th period, so if you could come at around 3 o'clock, that would make me happy. Hell no. Demon child. Please come again. That pure smile urged me to do so. There wasn't a trace of that evil aura. Depending on what happened next, all that might end up as nothing other than my hallucination. Thinking about it logically, if the daughter of the Fude household, one of the 3 families, had taken a liking to me, then this was a strong foothold for my investigation from here on out. It was like a free ticket for a reason to visit Hinamazawa. If only I could treat that little incident as a figment of my imagination. Then having this girl who was the embodiment of my ideal daughter grow so attached to me wasn't bad either. I had successfully dove into the belly of the Onigafuchi Guardians, and had the mayor as well as other important members of the alliance welcome me with open arms. This was a great turn of events. However, I still felt uneasy. Getting back to the hotel, I forced down almost painfully cold beer until I could clear my mind. The shock from that incomprehensibly strange incident continued to torment me. I have been spooked by Rika. Get you a girl that can do both. Nipa and scare the shit out of you. Alright, we got 3 tips here. Oh? Who is this I see? It's the man. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. The sound of the car grew closer, followed by the sound of it braking as the engine cut out. At that moment, his up until now lackadaisical footsteps grew decisive as the man in the room dashed up to the wall beside the window and carefully peered outside. It was his comrade's car. Even so, he still didn't relax his guard. Eventually, the sound of footsteps approached the door. Thump. Thump, thump, thump. It was the passcode.
帰ってきたね。
I'm
赤
back.
ちょくれな。俺だ。
Open the door already.
ああ、お疲れ。今あげる。
Ah, you must be tired. I'm opening it now. After the locks were undone and the door opened, a man appeared, his arm laden with swollen plastic grocery bags. The bags in his hands had Sevens Mart written on them, with bread and milk cartons able to be glimpsed within. The contents of those bags were then spread out over a sheet on the floor.
カップラーメン買ってきちゃう。お湯沸かせな。小僧はどうしてる？
I bought some cup noodles. Let's go boil some water. What's the kid doing?
ずっと寝てる。
He's been sleeping the entire time.
手がかからなくて助かるよ。
Thank God he's not causing any trouble.
うんこ垂れるときは騒ぐけどな。
He did struggle a bit when he was about to shit himself.
漏らさせんな。練習は万一のとき、やばいって。
Don't let him crap his pants. It'd suck if it started smelling like an outhouse in here.
わかってるよ。
Yeah, I know.
猿グツワは定期的にチェックんな。外れてもまずいん。きつくも締め付けちゃあん。
Check the gag every now and then. Don't want it to get loose. Keep it tight.
窒息させたら意味がなん。
But not so tight that he stops breathing.
わかってるって。
I,
あれ携帯コンロのガス管頼まなかった
I said I know. Huh? Didn't I ask you to pick up another can of gas or the portable stove?
もうガスねえよ。
We're out.
聞いてねえ。だは。
You never asked, you idiot. Idiot.
マジかよ。ついてくれよ。くそ、くそ。
Seriously? Come on, work. Damn it. He rattled the portable stove as he struggled to get it to light. Seeing that, the man who went to buy supplies let out a deep sigh. And with a backwards glance at that sight, began to walk to the corner of the room. The kidnapped boy was sprawled out on a sheet that was spread out on the floor.
小僧、元気かいね。
Boy, you doing okay? Of course, the man didn't assume the kid was able to hear that question. That's because the boy's ears were plugged, with his eyes and ears thoroughly covered by packing tape. Also, his mouth was gagged with a thin, twisted-up towel. Because of that, the boy was unable to close his mouth properly, his cheeks sticky with his own saliva. Of course, that wasn't the only reason. Both his arms were tied tightly behind his back with a leather belt.
今んところ順調らし。命の心配はない。
You seem to be doing okay. At least, you're not gonna die.
お前のじいさんがしぶりよったん。耳たぶの一つも切り落とさなきゃならんかったんけ。やらんくて済んで助かりよんよ。
If your grandpa wanted to play tough, we might have had to lop an ear off. Be great if we don't have to.
本家はこうと決めたら鬼やんね。どんな残酷なこと命令するかも想像つかん。
If the main family says we do, though, tough luck. Can't you imagine what kind of cruel things they'd have us do?
その本家が小僧に傷一つつけるな言うてんから、とにかく順調なんだろうな。
Family says not one scratch on him, though, so seems to be going well for the time being.
大臣はダム計画を撤回で水面下工作。ひなみ沢ダム計画は無期凍結へ。
The minister is discreetly withdrawing the dam project. Namazawa Dam is indefinitely postponed.
小僧の解放はいつ頃になるんだろうな。
I wonder when we're letting the boy go.
早く一服したいもんだぜ。
I just want to be done with this already.
本家が決着のタイミング測ってるらしい。いつになるかはあらんが、近いうちやんな。
The main family seem to be gauging the timing. I don't know when it'll be, but probably soon.
よかったな小僧。もうじき解放されるぞ。
Isn't that great, kid? You'll be let go real soon. The men didn't know if their voices were heard by the boy. For him, there was nothing he could do but continue to sleep to escape his harsh reality.
それよん。ガスをどうするんね。ラーメン食えんよ。
More importantly, what are we going to do about the gas? Can't eat the cup noodles raw.
ガス切れたなら言うてえなもう。
If we're out of gas, say something. Jeez. Why I like rainy days. The weather forecast had predicted that it wouldn't rain at all this entire week. It's not that I hate sunny days or anything. When every day is the same, unchanging sunny weather, however, anybody would long for a rain cloud or two. If it's simply clear skies for a week, a month, a year, anybody would long for a rain cloud or two. The weather specialist said that they had carefully scrutinized a large quantity of past data, so it wouldn't be so likely for the forecast to be wrong. I knew as much. But even then, there was occasionally a day where I was hoping that it would be wrong as I stared up into the clear blue sky. Was I being mischievous in hoping so? I waited and waited, feeling almost suffocated by the boring blue sky, undisturbed by a single cloud. If you could die from that suffocating feeling, then the population of Earth probably wouldn't have increased to this point. In other words, the only person who was being suffocated by this was me. Excuse me. And so, I welcome the summer evenings where not even the weather forecast could predict a sudden shower. If I were to explain it like this, would you understand a little bit more about how I feel? Let's say that tonight's dinner was going to be curry rice, but when you're called down to the dinner table, what was waiting for you was instead an eggplant and bell pepper stir-fry. This is just on your mother's whim, by the way. I'd be delighted by such whimsy. I don't really like eggplants or bell peppers, but still, I'd be delighted. The fact that the pre-established routine of curry rice had been broken would be amusing. If tonight was repeated 100 times, and 100 times you had to eat curry rice, yet for just this one night, this was changed to an eggplant and bell pepper stir-fry, there's no way you couldn't enjoy that chance happening. I hate pre-established routines. I really hate when things are all decided beforehand. I have no love for boredom. I always get my hopes up that something today will be different from yesterday, no matter how trivial. It's been decided that this entire week starting today was going to be clear skies. The weather forecast decided upon it, so the god of weather must also feel obliged to do so. But who's to say that a rain cloud might not just show up one day on a whim? It's something that nobody can say for sure, but because that thought remains in this world, a creature such as myself can continue living without being suffocated. Tomorrow will probably be a hot and clear day. However, I'm the only one that knows that predetermined fate, even with but a slim 1% chance, sometimes changes. Hoping for that 1%, I hung up upside down weather charms on my sunlit estrade. In the end, I spend my days waiting for those unexpected things in life to happen. I pondered why I was hoping for it. Why was I hoping for a rain cloud? The answer was simple. I've had my fill of clear skies. Then why was I hoping for a rain cloud? The answer was simple. The fact that it was going to be sunny tomorrow was boring. So why was I hoping for a rain cloud? In the end, it doesn't really matter whether it rains or shines tomorrow. Basically, it was just that the rain would water my heart, which was withered from boredom. That's why rather than a TV drama where the plot's already been decided, I prefer to look up at the sky.
だいぶ血圧も良くなってきましたよ。そのとしてこれだけの回復力があるのはいやいや感服するばかりです。
Your blood pressure has improved. For you to recover this quickly at your age, I'm rather impressed.
お嬢さんなら100でも200でも元気にお過ごしになれますね。
At this rate, you'll still be kicking after a couple hundred more years, Orji-san. The young doctor in his medical coat said that that as he undid the blood pressure cuff from the arm of the old woman tucked away in her futon. Ah, an old lady sprite.
わしんたいな死に損ないは早うしなんと若者の邪魔になっていけんね。
You're a very good physician, Dr. Irie. If a persistent old fart like me doesn't hurry up and die, I'll just be in the way of you young folk. The old lady, Oryu, laughed faintly with a broad smile on her face. Then, turning towards the sliding door, she called out in a strong voice.
しみこさん、かたえこさんおらんね。入江先生に麦茶でも入れてやりゃな。
Is Shimiko-san or Taiko-san there? Bring some tea for Dr. Irie. The sound of rushed footsteps from the hallway drew closer, till finally the door slid smoothly open. What it revealed was a young girl. It looked like the old lady's granddaughter.
シミコさんは今日はもう上がっちゃったよ。
Oh my god.
何かよ。
It's young baby Mion. Chibi Mion. Shimiko-san already left for the day. Do you need something?
いや、入江の先生に麦茶を入れたってんな。
Mion, make some barley tea for Dr. Irie.
うん、了解。抹茶も飲む？
Okay, got it. Did you want some too, Granny?
紅茶の方がいい？
Or would black tea be better?
砂糖もミルクもたっぷり？
Want lots of milk and sugar?
わしが加減するから入れんでええんね。砂糖壺とミルクも一緒に持ってきてんな。
Now, it's kind of tricky because we're dealing with like visual novel sprites and everything. And maybe it is changed and maybe I just haven't realized maybe. Well, we don't know how far back this is. Maybe this moment happening concurrently with what we're reading there with Akaska? Who knows? I guess I'll continue with what I was gonna say, and maybe I could be proven wrong in many different instances. But if like at least there's some visual difference between like this much younger Mion sprite and then the Mion we know, you know, through chapters 1 through 3, shouldn't there be like a noticeable difference between like Rika, who is already like pretty damn young, and then like what we know Rika from like chapters 1 through 3, and then like what she would in theory then be here now. But again, that's assuming a lot of things, right? Visual novel sprites, not the most, you know, artwork of visual novels, not supposed to be something that's like 100% definitive. I guess in theory this moment that's happening here could be a different time than what the Akaska moment's happening. There's a lot of things that could be happening, but my original thought was like, wait, if we have such a visual difference here, shouldn't Rika be like 6 inches tall or something, you know? Something along those lines. Did she look definitively younger in CG? Maybe, I guess. See, that was hard. If that's the case, that's even harder for me to discern as like someone who's, I mean, I'm just, CGs already have a different like somewhat art style, so it's only for me easy to compare like sprite styles, like sprites obviously here like this. But that's fair. Like I said, not the most art to a visual novel, not the most reliable source. Anyway, back on track here. Oryu says, I'll measure out for myself, so you don't have to put any in. Just bring the sugar jar and some milk when you bring the tea.
Hi, hi.
KK. The girl named Mion, after giving a rather uninterested response to her taskmaster or grandmother, returned to the hallway.
先生の麦茶は来客用のガラス茶碗に入れるんよ。ちゃんとお座布団もつけてな。
Pour the doctor's tea in the cups for your guests, and make sure you bring a coaster too.
水滴もちゃんと拭き取っとくんね。
Make sure you also dry the outside of the glass, okay?
わーってるって。うっさいな。
Yeah, you're such a fussy pants. A tired voice wafted a reply from down the hallway. The apathetic tone of voice was far from unusual. The old lady let out a wry smile slip across her face as she chided the girl.
しょうがないやっちゃな。叱られるうちが離んねえ、なんたく。
Jeez, that girl just won't learn. Nothing I ever scold her about sticks.
おりょうさん、まあ、そこまでは言わなくても、ミオンちゃんも若いなりに頑張ってますから。
Now, Ori-san, you don't have to say that. Mion-chan is doing her best in her own way, even though she's so young.
あれの母親もな、しょうがないやっちゃったんね。よう似とる。
Her mother was the same way. Couldn't teach her anything. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
で、その母親の母親もまたそっくりなんじゃないですか?
So her mother's mother must be exactly the same, no? The old lady burst out laughing. Her expression showed she hadn't taken the comment the wrong way.
入江先生、申し訳ない。症状開けてもらえんけんね。
Dr. Irie, I'm sorry, but could you open the doors for me?
風が涼しそうだわ。
Seems there's a nice cool breeze outside. Cool chirping of the Higurashi had at some point started leaking through the gap in the doorway. Irie stood up and opened the door a bit. A refreshing breeze pushed out the stale air that had built up in the room.
日中はだいぶ暑くなったように思うんですが、まだ朝夕は涼しいですね。夕べは少し肌寒いくらいでした。
It's gotten fairly hot during the day, but the evenings are still rather cool, aren't they? It's almost downright chilly last night.
そんな朝夕もまたひなみ沢のいいところな。
Yeah, those types of mornings and evenings are another one of Hinamizawa's fine points. Irie replied with a smile as he returned to sit on the cushion beside the old lady. And then the two of them, for a little while, soaked in the voices of the Higurashi.
わしゃ100まで生きにせ。もうしばらくは死ねんよ。ダムの剣きっちり蹴りつけるまでは勘の蓋かって収まらんわ。
I'm going to try and live to 100. Till the business with the dam is proper finished, I ain't kicking the bucket just yet.
国が一度決めたことを撤回するのはなかなか難しいでしょうね。
To get the government to withdraw a decision they've already made is a fairly difficult thing to do.
国のやることはな、いつの世もイシュース回すみたいなもんね。そんでもだいぶ重いやっちゃ。
The way this country does things is like turning a millstone. A heavy one at that.
石臼ですか？
A millstone?
知らんねか、イシュース。
Don't you know? A millstone? Irie quickly affirmed that of course he knew what the old lady was talking about, for he knew full well that Oryu didn't like having her stories interrupted.
国のイシュースはな、なんでもゴリゴリ引いちまう。大したもんよ。
This millstone, see, can grind anything to a pulp. It's rather impressive.
でもな、簡単には回らない。重いイシュースなんねんな。
But you see, it doesn't turn that easy because it's a rather heavy millstone.
たくさんの人間がせーのってやってようやくじりじりと動き出す。そんなイシュースなんよ。
Lots of people have to work in unison to get it even to budge. It's that type of millstone. Irie pursed his lips, listening quietly to what she was saying. Hey, thank you so much. Thank you for the raid. Appreciate. We're just reading the tips in this chapter 4. Eventually, Mion returned with some tea laid out on a tray. Seeing that Oryu was talking in a good mood, she quietly knelt down and laid out the sets for the barley and black tea, careful not to interrupt.
だから一度回り始めたら簡単には止められんね。
That's why... Oh.
回し始める一番初めが一番重い。
That's why, when it gets going, it's not that easy to stop. It takes the most effort to move it right before it starts turning.
それが嫌だからみんな手を休めんとゴリゴリ回し続けるんね。
Everybody hates that, so everybody keeps pushing it along without rest.
摩擦係数の話でしょ。確かにバッチャの話、理屈はあるね。
You're talking about friction, right? I get what you're saying.
ちゅうことはだ。何かの間違いで突然イシュースが止まっちまったら、また回すにはどえらい力がかかる。ちゅうこったな。
Oh, that's really dope. I like raiding Higurashi streams actually visit the village Hinamizawa was based on last month. That sounds like a lot of fun. That would be cool. That would be a fun thing to do. If I was able to take like a trip that far out, I feel like I would have to do the same thing. Gotta go visit all the places one day. One day. Oryu here says, so in other words, if there's some sort of mistake and the millstone suddenly stops turning, to get it turning again takes a great deal of power, more or less.
確かに一度中断した計画をもう一度動かすのに必要なエネルギーはかなりのものでしょうね。
Certainly. To get a project that's been suspended going again takes quite a lot of work.
簡単には止められんイシュースだけどな。一度止めれば二度とは回らん。
It's a millstone that isn't easily stopped, but once it's stopped, it'll never turn again.
そういうイシュースよ。
It's that kind of millstone.
石臼を止めるいい手があればいいんですがね。
It'd be nice if there was some way to get that millstone to stop, wouldn't it? When Irie responded with that, Mion and the old lady suddenly sunk into silence. Irie, instinctively thinking he had said something rude, searched in a small panic for the words to correct himself. They welcome Higurashi fans too, even hand out little maps so you can find all the locations. Oh, that's really cool. I like that. That sounds sweet. But that silence wasn't the result of rude words. For what crept across Mion and the old lady's faces were contemptuous smiles. Ah, they're close. Oh no, they're laughing. They're laughing at me in unison. The atmosphere surrounding Irie suddenly froze, leaving him flabbergasted. Thinking that the scornful smiles creeping across both their faces was the result of some mistake of his, he could only grow afraid. Irie, run. Ah, the perfect nervous laughter. It hadn't been that long at all since he was enveloped by silence. However, unable to stand it, Irie could only let out a weak laugh. Irie's laugh eventually spread to Mion and the old lady. Not knowing exactly what they were laughing at, their laughter left a lingering chill. The only ones not laughing were the Higurashi, who continued their simple and unchanging chorus. Ah, spooky. Spooky. That's good. Alright, that's good. That's good. That's good. Let's save the next little chunk here. I did say at the start of the stream I would do a double game stream here to make up for missing yesterday. So I will do a very quick BRB here. I actually have a different BRB. I actually planned a new BRB. So hopefully when I click that to happen, it doesn't break everything. I will get Somnium files set up here very quickly. It won't be a super long BRB. It should only be a few minutes. Like I said, next Higurashi stream should be Friday night because I will be out all Saturday. So we'll do Friday night Higurashi. We'll just pick up back here where we left off. So yeah, very quick little BRB here, and then we will, I'll get Somnium files booted up. So if you're not staying for that, no worries or anything. Enjoy the rest of your night. If so, I'll be back very shortly.